What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in the last video that I made on Quant Network token, or QNT, we talked about a pullback that was likely to happen. I said things are getting overextended, volume is decreasing, simply just seems as if we're going to get a pullback. Well, since that video, the price is now down about 18%, and many of you have been asking in the last video's comment sections, hey, it's down. Is now the time to buy? So I'm going to try my best to answer that question and give my opinion on what happens next. And with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. So looking at QNT again, we made our last video roughly up here. It was right around this like $220-ish area. And I was saying, it just feels like a pullback is going to happen. And now here we are. Now that that has happened, we have seen a complete pullback from bottom to top. I was sitting roughly around 23%, but currently sitting around 19% with a little bit of recovery today. Now, many people are again asking, is now the time to be buying? Is this the pullback? So I'm going to start zoomed out, then I'm going to zoom in, and then zoom in again. So in a fully zoomed out version, this does not look like it to me. Okay, if we're going off of the metric that we are putting in a wave 3 likely next, what I would say is that, we put in wave 1, we put in wave 2, we put in wave 3. I mean, if we're going to go in and put a wave 4 in, likelihood is it's going to be a little bit more of a substantial fall. This isn't Elliot's wave theory. Now, it's still following Elliot's wave theory at this point, but we're only on 3 waves in, so of course there can be a little bit of, movement that happens that kind of contradicts that eventually. But right now, general structural formation would say that more of an extended pullback is usually likely within a move of this nature, okay? Your 5 wave will usually be a little bit more substantial than what we're seeing now. Now, we can also see here that we are getting a bit of a pullback off of a macro level of resistance. Do remember one thing. When we reach macro levels of resistance, we will usually see a stronger pull to the downside. That's usually just a byproduct of reaching a strong sell wall. So whenever you mix those two things in together in the macro sense, I would still say that there seems to be a little bit more room to the downside to go. Now, if we look at something like the daily Bollinger Bands, you can also see that that is supported by saying that we still have not come back down to this 20 SMA, currently sitting around $156, and I do believe that is very likely to happen, right? We just have a strong tendency of doing so. It doesn't have to happen now. Sure, we may continue on a little bit, but it does seem very likely that it will happen eventually, especially based on the history of QNT. You can see here, overextension to the 20, overextension to the 20, overextension back up to the, or I guess this was the overextension here, but back to the 20, overextension to the 20, overextension to the 20. Now, we went up, of course, we looked like we might be coming down to it, but we still continued up for a little while, but eventually got this wick right here to the 20. So what does that tell me? That likelihood is we're going to get a pull to the 20 at some point, which says that we are in a position to likely continue a little bit further. Now, again, that could mean that we go up again first, and then we pull to the 20 into a similar level that we are now, but we will likely visit this 20 relatively soon, and so for that reason, I would still be being a little bit more cautious. We look at something like the daily RSI as well. You can see here that we are still only around the 64 level. That is nowhere near a full reset whatsoever, and typically when we get these stronger resets, even one like this on QNT, we're usually pulling back towards the 50. I'm usually comfortable around the 50 on the RSI because it's usually a very important point of, liquidity, resistance, and support on both sides. Once we usually flip it, we're usually in a good position to go up. Once we usually flip it to the downside, we're usually in a position to go down. And so it seems as if, we still very well could continue to these lower 50-ish areas, considering the fact that, the macro looks a little bit more likely that we pull back further, and we've not reached a 20 SMA on the dailies. I would say it seems more likely that we're going to get the stronger pullback eventually, which would say that it still isn't a best time to be buying just yet. Personally, I would want to see something more along these lines in which we start to see, more of a strong capitulation, maybe even losing this ascending level of support, coming back down to somewhere maybe around 126, looking to establish support here and then continuation. I would say this would be the most optimal because it allows the bulls to rest to enter into another strong wave to the upside there. Now, how do we identify when another move to the upside is coming? That's one of the biggest questions, because how do you know you're not in one of these where every time we get a bounce, it's followed by capitulation and capitulation and a bounce capitulation, bounce capitulation, bounce capitulation. Like, how do you know that this isn't happening? Well, honestly, for QNT, its pattern is quite easy. What you want to look for is the clearing of a macro Fibonacci level. Let me give you an example just in this little pullback right here. This one right here, okay? So what you're going to do is whenever we put in a high, make your Fibonacci high there. When we put in a low, a clear low, drag your Fibonacci down to that level. And what you're looking for is the clearing of this 618 to 786 level. Once you are capable of doing that, you are very typically in a position to see growth to the upside. For example, look here. We came up to it. We got rejected down off of it. Okay, no problem. So all we're going to do now is take our macro Fibonacci off of this new high, go down to this new low. What happened here? Boom. We didn't even really get to get up to it before setting the new lower low. So now this one doesn't matter. We're not in position to start seeing growth yet. Now we come back here. Boom. What happened? We put in the macro high, this little macro high here. We put in the macro low. We got rejected off of it, right here. Boom. We got rejected off of it, got the daily close below it, but then we eventually broke back above it, back tested it, and then we were in position to really take off. And so you can see, once you break this little 618 to 786 level, that's when QNT is typically in a position to see some growth. So in our current situation, I'm looking for this thing to, break somewhere around, let's go ahead and call it 216 to 205 before I'm extremely confident that we're going to really make some growth. Because you look at something like the hourly RSI, it'll tell you that we're probably in a position to see some type of bounce soon. It has come all the way back down to the 35 level with a strong drive of bullish divergence, in which you can see here, low, higher low, low, lower low. So we're probably in a position to bounce soon here, but if it's unable to clear these levels and get back above 216, likelihood is that could be it just putting in this B wave into a continued C wave, in which maybe, you put in something like your top here, then you come down, you put in your A wave, your B wave, and then your C wave further to the downside to finish off this correction. So for that reason, I would be looking for this level to break right here before I'm extremely confident to be buying some more. Now, remember, I do all of my personal purchasing through BitGet. They actually did just launch QNT or Quant Network token on their exchange, and you can currently trade it with absolutely zero fees. Don't miss out on that. Save yourself some money, trade it with no fees, and use the link down below, and you can get up to $4,000 from your sign up and deposit rewards. But with that said, guys, I just feel like this thing is in a position to see some growth, but I want to see, these larger time frames kind of cool off and correct, because the last thing I want to see is right now this thing just goes boom to the top side, sets in this new high, but then the RSI puts in maybe like a lower high. The next thing you know, we're sitting with this bearish divergence on the charts, and then the strong 60-70% correction happens. I don't want to see that happen. I want to see this growth stay maintainable and sustainable, and it does that by seeing a bit more of a correction here. So that's what I'm looking out for, okay? Now, before I do go ahead and finish off the video, I wanted to tell you all about XDAO. This is a pre-sale that I'm in. It is coming out tomorrow. That it is a partner of the channel as well. Now, remember, we're in a bear market. They're launching tomorrow. Be safe, be smart, don't do anything ridiculous. Understand that these things are very risky. The whole purpose of me bringing it to the channel today is to show you what they're all about so you can keep an eye on them. Once launch is successful, you can check it out. If you want to buy it, of course, great. But if not, I just wanted to present it to you today. So what is it and why do I think it's interesting for you specifically? So XDAO is going to be doing a couple different things. The idea of a DAO is typically pretty confusing to most people. They think too much of the technicals and coding, and that's their goal. They want to simplify DAOs in a kind of fun and educative way while also allowing people to make money through these quests that provide them with NFTs and things of that nature. Now, what it says here is you can join our quest on BNB Chain and win an amazing NFT from Pocus Lampus, learn about DAO, and read our comics created by artificial intelligence. So what is City Quest? What is this quest that you can win NFTs with? So what you can do is read our comics created by AI, follow the storyline to save the city. You solve tests and complete tasks to gain points, create your DAO without coding. After that, you can acquire unique knowledge and the opportunity to win a valuable prize, which goes to be NFTs. So there are a couple different NFTs you can win. Each of them are going to have their own value, of course, but in order to win them, you have to do these quests. So for those who finish the quest but have not gained the minimum amount of points, you get the Pope NFT. For those who gain the minimum amount of points, you get a common NFT. For those who gain the max amount of points, you get a rare NFT. And then to win a super rare NFT, 100 of them will be raffled off among the winner of rare NFTs. So if you win the rare NFTs, you have an opportunity to become a part of this raffle to be or to receive a super rare NFT. So it's very interesting, right? And it's a completely different story. Of course, this is also another way for people to be able to build DAOs in a fun way. This is, again, a multi-chain DAO builder for jointly managing crypto assets and DeFi projects. So it gives people the ability to not only build DAOs, but while participating and learning about DAOs, win NFTs, get points, and use those points to make money. So it's very interesting. Again, it's super different than anything I'd seen before. Remember, they are launching tomorrow. So it could be something to just keep your eye on, especially as they do go forward. The XDAO token, again, the public sale price is going to be at 0.06 with the total supply sitting at 1 billion in token generation event tomorrow. Now, they actually have the token distribution and all the information you may need sitting on xdao.app. The link will be down in the description below, but I do believe it is, again, something you should check out, even if you know you're deciding not to invest into it. The way they are approaching education about DAOs and the DAO creation process without all the coding, without all the fancy stuff, it's different, it's new. I like different and new, so I'm just said, what the heck, and I'm just going to take a part of the pre-sale and just see what happens. So with that said, that is going to be about it for today's video, and of course, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all next time. Peace.